Hello everybody. I finished my race on November the 2nd and I did the 50 kilometers in 6 hours and 10 minutes. Overall, I was pretty happy with the results and with the experience. Well, we'll talk about a little bit more, but I want to also look a little bit back on the journey to that point. In February, March, I decided to run an ultramarathon after having done any race of any kind for about 20 years. I did Ironman competitions, in the beginning of 2003, 2002, 2004, but I basically stopped doing races after that. The entire when I started to setting me this goal, I knew I need to build up enough volume and stamina and endurance and fitness to be able to successfully run a race and finish in a way that I want to do it again. In total, I ran 1,384 miles for training, and it was over a period from February to November. The last 4 months, I ran two, 253, 292, 268, and 195 miles, and the last one included also the taper. The taper was not as I liked to. The first week of the taper was easy because I didn't do the long run 3 weeks out. I was running pretty okay and good in that week. I did roughly the same distances, 11 miles a day. And then I got a kind of I wouldn't call it an injury, but a problem with my hip and the hamstring, where the tendon attached to the hip. And I will talk a little bit more in my lessons learned. I had just enough time to manage, and so it was not a factor in the race, although it was bothering me from the beginning a little bit, but not something I could not manage. Also, the race itself was a beautiful day. In the morning, I was a little bit worried because it was 40 degrees Fahrenheit and I was freaking cold. I come from California, where I was running into 90 to 100 degrees in the weeks before that, and I didn't know how to deal with that. I talked to a few people before the race. There we were waiting for the start, and he said, "Don't worry, don't overdress. You will be fine." And I decided to reduce some of my layers, and that was the right decision. And This all worked out fine. It was a beautiful day. The overall was probably around mid 50s. It couldn't be better. It was a little bit windy at some points, but not that it was really a factor. The course existed of 3 loops, and the first 2 loops I was consistently running the same pace. I was also running, say around just under 6 hours finishing time, and I thought I could make it to finish the race within 6 hours, the way I was going. But unfortunately, in the last 4 miles or so, it became very difficult, and I lost, I say, 10 minutes, the 10 minutes after 6 hours in the last 4 miles. So that is something I will come back to it in the lessons learned. Let me see. I feel pretty okay during the whole race. Of course, if you run long distances, at some point you feel little pains and nicks and etc. But what was different this time is that my calves started to hurt, and my calves never hurt. In all my training, all my long runs, I never have any issues with my calves, and I didn't understand why that was the case. Maybe somebody knows, maybe in the comments can tell me what I think it could be, but what was a kind of, I don't know the answer to that. So the race went reasonably well, although at the end I was struggling and it was pretty painful. I'm not. Maybe that is what bonking means. That comes back is did I not train enough, or it was my food strategy not enough. My hydration I didn't think was a problem because it was really a cool day, 55 degrees, and I was drinking every hour, say a cup of tailwind or water, and I peed enough that I pretty confident that my hydration was up to par. I used in total 18 gels, that is 1800 calories basically that I consumed, and my Garmin said I burned 4100 calories or so. That means is maybe that was not enough. I don't know that. So if somebody knows, thinks that it is not enough, please let me know. Maybe I miscalculated how much fat burning I do versus carbohydrate burning. Does anybody have an insight and want to share that with me in the comments? That would be great. So now being home and I'm still a little bit sore and I'm trying to recover. I'm pretty happy about the entire results, and by the way, I finished fourth in my age bracket. This was not too bad either. And the people who were in front of me, they were not much faster, but it was no way for me that I had a real shot, for example, to become third. I needed to run just under six hours. I think my number 3 was 5 hours and 55 minutes or so. So I don't think I was in the position that I could challenge that. Maybe next time. Okay, there were also a few lessons learned, and I'm still processing the whole process, but this is what I have. So far, they are not lessons that you always see on YouTube, but it is more personal, and it might be useful for other people to be alerted on things that can go wrong on a race like this. My first big lesson is don't wear different shoes on the day of travel you usually wear every day. I use all of these old sneakers because if you run a lot, you have a lot of old running shoes you use. And I used a little bit more fancier shoe to travel. And I immediately in the airport, I started to develop, say, little beginning of blisters on my heels. And I think, oh shit, this is not good. So I got some tape. I taped it off, and then it was okay. It was a little tender, and I taped it on race day, and that became an issue. And then I thought by myself, I should not have done that. Lesson 2. The lesson 2 was also very important for me, is scouting the location before the day before. I went to I did that, and I had difficulties to find the location. The traffic was really complicated from my hotel, and it took me a while to figure out how to navigate myself, even with a GPS. And because of the road constructions that was going on, etc., and also find a parking place that was close enough, and that saved me a lot the next day. I think that was a positive lesson that I did the right thing, and I got a lot of benefit from it. The other thing is that's what I got wrong in my taper, is that I had a work event where I needed to stay for a couple of hours on my feet. I'm not used to that. And that is the next day I felt that my tendon attachment to the hip on my left hamstring was irritated, and it was bothering me. And I initially run with it a little bit, and then it didn't get better, so I decided to take 2 or 3 days off. And then from then on, that was the last week of the taper, I still kept running with it, and it was okay, it was manageable. But it bothered me that when I do the race and I do significantly longer distances, that it would become worse over time. Fortunately, that didn't happen. Fortunately, it stayed constant, and on a certain point you have enough little pains everywhere, you don't notice that anymore. So, but what it tells me, I did something I usually not used to do close to the race, and that almost cost me the race because of the problems I got from that. So there's also a lesson that I learned. So in summary, I'm pretty happy with the entire results. As I said before, I'm contemplating what to do next. My first goal was to build up a plateau that I have enough running volume capability to do this kind of training. I think I'm there. I might not be, I not need to do more. I don't know exactly what the best training plan for that is. Trying to figure that one out. And also I thought now I can work more on my speed, because I was working on building a baseline. And there was one of my thoughts is to do a marathon where you focus a little bit more on speed than distance, like in an ultra marathon, and see how fast it can be. My fastest marathon ever, which is 20 years ago or so, was just over 3 hours. But if I I will not be able to do that anymore. But let's see how far I can get. And that's another thought I have. Okay, I hope you enjoyed my video series so far, and I hope that something people have learned something from it or was entertaining. Any responses would be welcome, and if you subscribed, that would be even better, or suggestions, all welcome. And thank you for watching.